Welcome to the Stygian Archive. I am Solrath from Kerr, and today our guest is Fredrik Andersson from Fimbul Winter. Fimbul Winter is a melodic death metal band from Stockholm, Sweden, formed in 2023 by three former members of Amon Amarth. As you would expect, their music is pummeling while presenting an epic yet melancholic atmosphere. If you haven't heard them yet, it's time for you to check them out. Thank you for joining me here today, Fredrik. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Excellent. So tell me, when did your musical interest begin? Did you begin getting involved in music at a very young age?
Oh, well, I mean, I started. I grew up listening to music through my parents. I guess they were all into like Deep Purple, The Doors, Rolling Stones, and some Black Sabbath. I kind of grew up listening to that. And then at like age of 13 or so, I started to into the metal scene more and find my own bands and my own interest. And then pretty much started a band immediately. I played some in Sweden when you're in school at like third grade, you get to pick an instrument to play. So you learn an instrument, and I was taught the piano. So I was introduced to the music via school. But then at like 13, I started playing the guitar and some drums as well actually back then. So yeah, a couple of years.
That's very cool. Very cool. So when you started getting into metal and you were introduced to the style of music, which bands really grabbed your attention? And did you find these bands through friends, self-discovery, or sort of combination?
It was a combination, and a lot of music I discovered by hanging out at the youth center at school. So I didn't have that many friends that were into who got interested in metal at the beginnings, but I did go hang out at the youth center, and some of the older kids were listening to lots of metal there. The metal was all it was like everything in the school where I was in the like mid 80s, late 80s. There was like the third grade, like the I guess what would that be? If I was 13, they were like 15. So I don't know what that translates into, but the senior year, the 15-year-olds, they got to paint the walls in the school, and there was lots of like metal paintings actually on the walls. There was someone had painting like the Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, for example, and there was some other cool paintings like that. And so at the youth center, everybody was listening to metal. There was lots of Priest, Maiden, Dio, Motorhead, Manowar, and Accept, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just hung out there, listened to all the music that all the older kids put on, and just kind of for getting into it. And then later, like a year later or half a year later or something, I started to get meet other friends from different areas where I grew up, who I didn't grew up in who wasn't in the same class as, but we kind of all hung out at the youth center, and so started from there. I guess finding our own style of music, listen to more harder metal, thrash, speed metal. I mean Metallica, obviously, Testament, Creator, you name it, Running Wild, Halloween, and stuff like that. And then from there, it just went harder and heavier. We discovered Napalm Death, and it just went on from there, basically.
Excellent. All great bands. So when you decided to start your first band, who would you say would be your main influence at that time? Like, did you go for a particular style, or were you just kind of going off the cuff?
First band, it was just trying to figure out what the hell we were doing, basically. So I don't think we really had a huge plan. I mean, at the time, I was playing with one of my a friend that I met. He was more into like Gary Moore and um, I don't know. I mean, not the hardest stuff. And then the guy who was playing drums in that band, he was into like hardcore and not like more the melodic hardcore, like Bad Religion and stuff like that. So it was kind of, we were just kind of didn't know what the hell we were doing. Just kind of dabbled in even writing songs. So it was more. It was maybe 1 or 2 years later that we actually I met um, another through a friend. I met a guy who was looking for a guitar player in his band, and that he was more advanced and he had a certain style that he wanted to play. He wanted to play like uh, complicated death metal. I mean, we were influenced by Disharmonic Orchestra, Sysma from Finland, like Carcass, maybe like early Carcass and stuff like that. So it was like kind of gritty, complicated death metal, and that's when we started to get a direction, so to speak.
Excellent, excellent. So when you started getting into those heavier bands, and they kind of helped you guys develop a sense of where you wanted to go, do you still hold those influences in the same regard today? Are there any that you've grown away from, or that you have grown closer to?
I mean, I actually, we played a festival this summer in Germany, and I got to see and meet up with the guys from Disharmonic Orchestra again. We haven't seen them or listened to them basically since then that much. Well, I mean, they were a huge influence, and it was really cool to see. I recognized the songs obviously because they made a huge impression on me back then. But yeah, and Carcass obviously always been like uh, an influence, and I guess, I mean, there was other bands like Pungent Stench and Autopsy, maybe into that. But yeah, I mean, you kind of I guess when the death metal scene, and especially the melodic death metal scene, got kind of started to evolve, uh, we moved away from that the grittier stuff and moved towards more melodic stuff. I After that I became a huge fan of At the Gates, obviously, or well, not obviously, but yeah, it was. I would say that um, from the time when I switched from guitars to drums, At the Gates was from then on. At the Gates was my absolute main influence in the death metal scene. Some Dissection as well, and other bands. But yeah, and then but yeah, those the first bands, they've always been there, but it's not something I listen to like on a daily basis. Also because they haven't really released that much music, they kind of faded away, some of them.
Right, right. Well, very cool. So between guitar and drums, so you started playing guitar first.
Yes.
Okay. What decided to make you get into drums?
It just, I think it was partially, it was that instrument that everybody wanted to try out. Like even in the first uh, when we first started playing together with friends, we were playing in school, like in the music room at school, and they had a drum kit. So everybody, at some point, everybody just sat down and tried to play drum. I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of what you do when you have a drum kit in the same room. And then from the first formation of the first real band that I started playing in, we kind of, since we started to have different directions, he was more into, the drummer in that band, he was more into like the weirder death metal, and I started getting into like more melodic stuff. That's when I decided to start a new band. So I brought the singer with me and the bass player, and we just kind of, well, basically we left the drummer, and then at that transition, I started playing drums instead, and we brought in two other guitar players. That so, and for me, it was. I think I thought it was more fun. Or it was also the fact that the drummer in our band, that when I was playing guitar, he got really a lot of attention. Like people were like really impressed by his skills, and I wanted to have that as well. And I figured maybe I'm not the best guitar player. I can become a better drummer instead, or something like that. I guess I thought, and also because I was anyway writing a lot of the music on guitar, so being the drummer, I had like almost full control of what was going on in the band at the time. I mean, that was kind of a little bit. I wanted it my way, basically, in the early days.
Fair enough. No, I can definitely relate to the wanting to try out the drums. Every band space I've been into, I couldn't tell you how many times I've been told, "Get off my drum set." I think it's just a natural part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say as far as learning and developing skills as a drummer? What was the biggest learning curve for you?
Uh, um, I mean, we. I'm not sure if I know what you mean, but I mean, in the beginning, we always played above our like capacity, I guess, and I think almost most musicians in the metal scene were doing that back then, because there was not, people were not as skilled as they are now. Basically, there was a few like there were natural talents, maybe, but no one had, or very few had the technique and everything that's in the scene, like what musicians have now. I mean, when I think things changed basically when Death released Human, I would say, or around that time, when you started to like, aha, you can actually do, you can do this on drums, or
Yeah.
it sound like this, and that's when it kind of everything just changed. And but I mean, I was self-taught. I never learned any techniques back then. I would say the biggest learning curve, or the biggest. I was just fighting my way through to get better at the instrument, and kind of like being in control of something that I wasn't really in control of. But I mean, eventually the kick drums kind of came fairly easy for me. I just developed my own style that worked for me, and was able to do that for many years. And but I mean, technically, I would say I'm a 10 time better drummer now than I've ever been like before. I think I've developed my best techniques, and my best skills I've developed in the last 10, 15 years, I would say. Now I come up in speeds that I wasn't able to play at all like back then. So it's a constant learning curve. You never stop learning. You know, you always develop, as long as you, I guess, when you realize your weaknesses, and learn how to tackle them, and how to change a behavior that is bad for you. Because I mean, playing drums, if you play it the wrong way, it can actually hurt you. And I've been hurt.
Mm.
I injured myself a lot of times, different stuff, and realized I had to change the way I'm playing to be able to continue. So yeah, it's a constant learning curve, and I think that goes probably with every instrument. It's just maybe more physical with death metal drumming, at least until you know the right technique for it.
I like that perspective. Being able to point out your own weaknesses in order to know where to improve. That's good. That can apply to so many things.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. Well, you have definitely put in the work, and yes, you are an excellent drummer. Have no doubt about it.
Thank you.
So tell me, how did your current band Fimbul Winter come to be?
Yeah, it was our drummer Nico, who was the original drummer in Amon Amarth. He had his 50th birthday party coming up, and at the party where he had like 50, 60 people invited, he was having the party at the a venue where they also have a stage, and we were out drinking, having a couple of beers, and he mentioned that he wanted to play the first Amon Amarth demo that he played on back in
Hmm.
93, 94. So he wanted to play that at his party, and I thought it sounded like a really cool idea. So I offered to play the guitar. Actually hadn't like touched the guitar for like 10 years when I said that, but I figured, how hard can it be? Like it's just old '90s death metal songs, and I knew the songs like by heart. I could probably sit down and play them all on drums fairly easy. I played them at some point. I played them on drums. I kind of knew the songs. It wasn't that hard to take out the riffs on the guitar and learn it. But it was different, of course. But that's how it started. And we Anders, who is also the original guitar player of Amon Amarth, he was also invited to the party, and so he was playing the second guitar. And then we had my old friend Linus, who I played with in Canary Squinted for thousands of years. He jumped in and played bass, and Clint, who we met through Amon Amarth because he was a huge fan. He was also invited to the party, and he's a great singer and been a great singer in many different bands. So we just asked him to to do the singing for those songs. It was just it felt just natural to have him. I mean, he was like dying to it's been his dream to sing on those songs, or at least, or to even hear them live. So it was, yeah, that's how that started. And then when we did that show, the birthday party, and then the there's a cruise ship that goes between Sweden and Finland that they do every year. They do, or almost every year, they do a metal cruise where they have like metal bands, sort of like I'm sure you heard of the 70,000 tons of metal. This
Yeah.
is like that, but it's not in the Caribbean, and it's much smaller. But
Okay.
yeah, so the guy who organizes that cruise, he invited us to play as Fimbul Winter on the cruise,
Awesome.
and we did that as well. I mean, we only played like three songs, but we did it, and then during that, because that's a 36-hour cruise, we were hanging out together, and we just started talking about if we should maybe make it a real band and write some original songs. And we looked into what we had. I had went through my phone and looked, like, found a whole bunch of old riffs that I had saved up from, like, I don't know, from back in the on almost, yeah, in 2000s. Um, Something
Awesome.
like that. And then we just sent it over to Anders, and he had some bunch of riffs, and Nico had some riffs, and that just we just wrote like five songs within a couple of weeks, and then we were like, okay, we'll try to make an EP out of this and see what happens, basically. And here we are.
Very cool. That's a great story. I do like the new EP too. That is awesome. I've tried to show a few friends here and there, and no one has said that they didn't like it. Let me put it that way.
Okay, all right. I'm sure there will be some people that doesn't like it.
They don't matter.
Yeah.
So, aside from the birthday party and the cruise, tell me about your first live performance as Fimbul Winter. What was that like?
If you mean, do you refer to like when we played our original tracks, or
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I mean that was that's a totally different story, because then it was more serious, and it was more as a real band, and then not just playing cover song. I mean, it's not cover songs. It's Anders and Nico were in the band when those songs were written, but it's still, now it feels more like our band and our music. So yeah, it was definitely special, and a little bit different for me to play the guitar and be more upfront, so to say. But I think we're having lots of fun. We're like we're enjoying what we're doing. So I think that's yeah, absolutely. I think after the first show, Nico just said like, "Oh, I can't wait till the next show," and it's like, okay, yeah, that's tomorrow, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But no, but we had it was just really fun, and cool to be able to present our music. I mean, we're still pretty unknown to a lot of people. We haven't. I mean, we've been releasing the EP by ourselves, so we don't have a big promotion behind it or anything like that. We're basically just relying on word of mouth, and doing it like old school underground way.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see when we start playing. There's a lot of, like, most people in the crowd are just like, okay, what's this? And then after a while they start digging along, and like enjoying it more and more. So that's really cool to see that we are converting people to our music. So yeah,
Absolutely. No, I know that's a good feeling.
yeah.
So tell me, through all of the concerts that you have played over the years, what are some of your most memorable moments and why?
Well, oh, I mean, we did play, I guess, on an average, 150 shows a year with when we were peak Amon Amarth. So it's kind of hard to remember just like one show like that. I mean, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but maybe, I guess, Japan first time stood out. That's actually wearing the shirt from that show. That's Loud Park 10. Um, uh, and I would say first time we played in the States, that was when we played the Milwaukee Metal Fest. I don't think that exists anymore, but that was, I think the first time you came to a new country was always very special, and didn't really matter which country, but it's always cool to see something completely new for the first time. I mean, it was my first show with Amon Amarth was the Wacken open air, so that was pretty intense, playing for like, it wasn't as big festival back then as it was, as it is now, obviously, but still, we didn't expect much. We were like the first band on one of the main stages, and didn't expect not like much, but it was like a couple of thousand people watching, so that was pretty intense, and a cool first show to going from like clubs of like 150 to 200 people to 2,000, 2, 3, 4,000 people. It was pretty
Right.
maxed out. So that was special, I guess. But then after, I mean, you kind of get um, it starts to not matter that much the size of the venue or the size of the crowd. You just go up on stage and do your do a show and try to do it as good as possible. So that kind of don't matter if you're playing for like 200 people or 2,000 people or 20,000 people. It doesn't really matter that much. So it's more, yeah, seeing new places, new countries, visiting new countries and stuff like that was pretty cool. I don't really have a specific, not on like that. I can come up with a certain show that would be like ultimate. That's the memory.
Right.
So, but yeah, all the all all the shows were pretty cool, or most of them.
Well, yeah. If there's nothing that really stands out, that means that they were all a great experience. Now, that is awesome.
I mean, I do know that there was a few that were real low marks, so
Yeah.
that I remember those. But yeah,
Understandable. Well, what bands are you listening to these days? Are there any modern bands that you find impressive?
uh, yeah, that's always tricky too. I'm bad with because I'm usually listen to music nowadays mostly doing the weekly recommendations on like Apple Music, um,
Hmm.
and it's very rare that I discover something that I'm like, oh, this was really good. But yeah, there are a few bands. If I can come up with anything right now. I mean, uh, I'm bad with names as well, so it's kind of tricky. But I mean, I've been enjoying a lot of the more that like the post black scene that um, I guess it's not really that trendy anymore. It started popping out like a few years ago. Bands like Gross, Uada, Miss Spearning, and those bands. So I guess maybe Der Vega in Freiheit was one of the first in that
Yeah.
scene, German band, and so so I've been listening to a lot of that stuff, and then I mean with I guess with within melodic death metal, me as well as I guess a lot of other people got kind of bored with the scene because it felt like it was stagnating and there's not like even if there was a new band popping up, they just sounded like a copy of what happened like 20 years ago. So it haven't really been that interesting. And I tried to get into some of the modern bands. I tried to listen to what are they called? I mean, Orbit Culture. It's not really my cup of tea. Even if I can appreciate what they're doing. It's kind of cool. And they do sound heavy. It's just not really my. It doesn't really work. It doesn't tickle my yeah whatever. But
Yeah. I hear you.
I mean, and then recently, I guess my wife's really into actually more heavier death bands. I've been actually listening to more. I mean, the like bands like I can't come. The only band I can come up with now, name wise, is 200 Stab Wounds, but they're not. It's not a favorite band, but that kind of genre of music. So I've been listening to some of those bands. I guess the new Artspire I thought was really damn good. I really like that one. More like tech death, even though I'm not really a tech freak per se, but I think that album is really impressive. And yeah, so very very much death metal or like heavier stuff, but pretty broad within the genre.
Excellent. Yeah, there's so many bands around these days. It's hard to keep track of half of them. I
It
understand.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, and you want to kind of you want to discover something new all the time.
Mm.
So it's kind of I always like if I hear something um, that at, feels interesting. I try to check out the full album, but it's hard to I mean like me as same as with everybody else. It's hard to be focused and keep your interest for a full album. But at least I try to give it a fair chance.
I hear that. I hear that. So, if you could have the perfect tour, which bands would be on that tour and why? And that can either be modern bands or inactive bands, or if you'd want to do two separate tours, it's up to you.
Uh, uh, I'm playing on that on the bill. My band is on the billing, or Fimbul Winter is on the billing. Yeah, that's. I have no idea. It doesn't. I mean, obviously, if I'm thinking egoistically, I would be supporting like some bigger bands, so we can get exposed to a bigger crowd. I mean, that's kind of what every band or a musician wants. If they're saying something else, then that means that they haven't succeeded or they're just lying. I mean, everybody, if you're in the band and you're playing music, you want to be heard and you want to be seen. So yeah, I guess I mean I would definitely. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'll play with any bands. But I mean, from a personal point of view, I guess uh, the Haunted, maybe Dark Tranquility, like Scandinavian bands in general. Just because we always get along when I see them and meet them. We have that we have the language and a bond in a certain way.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind touring with Obituary as well. They're cool guys. Carcass are also amazing guys. So yeah, I mean, but I mean, I wouldn't mind being on tour with Orbit Culture, for example. They seem to put on a really cool show, so that would be cool as well. Um, I wouldn't be on a tour with Amon Amarth, but that's not really my decision. But that would never happen. But yeah, just cool bands that are cool people.
Awesome. Now, Fimbul Winter, The Haunted, and Dark Tranquility, that would be a great tour. Let's see if we can put that out in the
Yeah, yeah.
universe and get that to happen.
All right, sounds good.
I think if I was going to add one band to that bill by a fan request, it would be a Swedish band from the mid '90s called Mythoton. I've always been a really big fan of their music.
It's yeah, it rings a bell. I don't know if I really listened to them, but yeah, like okay, I'll check it out.
All right, fair enough. So, what can we look forward to with the future of Fimbul Winter? You said you guys are working on new music currently.
Yes, we are working on a full length album, and we're in talks with labels for early 2027 release. So yeah, we're gonna have a real full length album out by next year, and then do some more shows and tours. So that's just keep on rolling.
Awesome. Well, very much looking forward to hearing what you guys put out. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I hope we can. I think we can keep it up. We have like 6 songs pretty much done already. Working on a couple more, so it's gonna keep. It's gonna be the same kind of standard, and try to keep it in the same. Not deviate too much. I mean, but maybe try some different stuff. as well. We're not really bound to a certain that we should sound a certain way. We don't really have an idea of what we should sound like. It's just the music that we put together. It just sounds like this by default. So we just take it wherever the music takes us and see what happens. That's the without not really a big plan like that, but hopefully it sounds at least familiar to the people who enjoy what we've done so far.
Excellent. I like that. Just let it come naturally. It's working great so far.
Thank you.
Well, Fredrik, thank you very much for being our guest, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys are going to be doing, and hopefully I'll get to catch some of your shows in the future. So, brother,
Absolutely.
you take it easy and keep the metal alive.
Thank you. Have a good one.